Hey guys, it's Brenna Jean, Future Doc. I recently got asked to do a video on the USMLE Step 1 change from a scoring system to a pass-fail system. And so I've been asking a few people for their thoughts on Instagram, looking at other responses and other YouTube videos about it. Right now it's Monday, February 17th. So I'm gonna do a little bit more research because, this news just kind of came out last week. It's still pretty fresh. I'm hoping to do a little bit more research, try and figure out what all the different opinions are for both sides. And then I'm gonna put together a little reacts video for you on basically what I think after doing the research. My initial reaction, I don't know, I think it's good. I said this about my MCAT video too, but literally my only goal with my MCAT score was to get high enough to be noticed. And to me, the most important parts of your application are the non-score stuff anyway, with the exception of grades. Like you have to have good grades because I think grades are a better representation of your ability to learn and master material. But yeah, initial reaction, I think it's good that it's pass-fail. I think it'll kind of shift the playing field a little bit, and I think that's why people are scared. But there's no reason to be scared of change. You just have to learn how to adapt to it. So anyway, I'll check back in later in the week after I've done a little bit more research and let you know my thoughts. I want to be very clear with this video that I did my own research before coming to an opinion. And even then, I'm sure that my opinion will still flip-flop a few more times as I learn new things. The biggest thing I could encourage to any of you watching this is that when it comes to addressing a topic that might be controversial, definitely don't just pick a side. Do your research first before you establish that opinion. And because otherwise you're only going to be looking for things that support your opinion, and ultimately you won't get the full picture of what the issue is. Hey guys, it's me. I am about to meet someone for breakfast, but while I'm waiting for my car to warm up, I thought I'd give you my initial thoughts on the USMLE Step 1 change. Where I'm at right now is that it's not necessarily a good change. But I don't know, I'm still waffling. But let me explain to you some of the reasons why. So the thing I want to talk about this morning is the idea that eliminating the score on this exam will improve student wellness. And my assumption with student wellness, when they're referring to that, is that they're really referring to mental health. So here's the thing. What do you have to do before you apply to college? Take the ACT and the SAT. What do you have to do before you get into medical school? Take the MCAT. What do you have to do while you're in medical school? Step 1, Step 2, COMLEX, depending on what school system you're in. And then even when you become a doctor, you still have board examinations that you have to take. So the fact that they're just eliminating this score on this one exam, I think is a bit hypocritical, might not be the right word, but it's just, there's already so many other scores in place that many people make life or death in their medical school journey. So just taking this one score and turning it into a pass-fail is not going to solve that problem. There's people with real mental health disorders and problems out there. Their problems should not be minimized by saying that this score is truly impacting that. Now, granted, when I'm recording this video, I'm not yet in medical school. I start medical school in a few months. But I've taken the MCAT, I've taken similar exams that can really dictate where your future takes you. And yeah, it's stressful, but there's ways to cope with that stress. There's ways to cope with the studying to ensure that you can still get a good score, but not impact your own mental health in such a debilitating way. So I think that saying that removing this score is in response to students' mental health, I think there's so many other things that contribute to a medical student's mental health while they're in school, and just removing this one score is not gonna fix that. I've also seen a theory recently that the USMLE made this change to make more money, and while I found it entertaining to read, it's a bit conspiracy theory-ish ish to me. Having been on leadership boards in the past where we've made decisions that aren't necessarily popular with everyone, I feel like I can pretty much guarantee that that was not the reason. It might be an unintended consequence or benefit, however they look at it, but that was probably not the reason. Now, as far as how it impacts DO students, a lot of people have been saying that it makes it harder for students from less competitive schools to get in. And first of all, as that addresses DO students, I don't consider myself a less competitive applicant because I'm going to a DO school. I'm going to a DO school because I want to learn osteopathic philosophy and I want to incorporate that for my patients because I truly believe that it'll help them be healthier. So this whole concept that DO is a less competitive school, like that stereotype just needs to freaking change, because DOs are just as accomplished doctors as MDs, and MDs are just as caring doctors as DOs. The stereotypes go both ways. So I think that the elimination of this score, honestly, I think it's silly to say that it'll make it harder for less competitive specialties to get in, because I think that the caliber of students is still great, and I think that that will shine through in other ways. I will check back in later with more of my thoughts because there's a lot to this, as we all know. Yeah. Hey guys, so it's a bit later in the day. It's actually like almost 9 o'clock when I'm filming this. So let's finish up the thoughts from earlier today. So I honestly think that if you are a competitive student, that will shine through in your application, whether it's through your Step 2 score or the leadership that you should be doing or the volunteering that you should be doing or the research that you should be doing. There's other things you can do as a student to prove your worthiness for whatever specialty you're getting into. And the fact of the matter is, we all know that just because you pick one specialty over another doesn't mean you're smarter than the other person. Like, I am very intent on going into some sort of primary care field, whether it's pediatrics or obstetrics and gynecology. That might change in the future, but I want to do that because that's what I'm passionate about. I'm passionate about preventative care and establishing long-term relationships with people. I could do dermatology, I could do orthopedic surgery, plastic surgery. I just don't want to. Does that make me a less intelligent person? I could still get a great Step 1 score and not do those specialties. So this whole conversation about how it'll make us make it harder for students like me at DO schools to get the potential residencies that they want, I just don't agree with that. I do think that Step 1 becoming pass-fail is going to cause other standardized metrics to become the new cutoff. It's really just kicking the can down the road. It's saying now, you can't use this score and now it's Step 2. And I don't necessarily think that's a good thing, because it's the idea that, yeah, you have longer to prepare for Step 2, but you also, your score so quickly to when you start applying to residencies, it's hard to make up for that. And I just think that the way that people work when it comes to sifting through choices of students and figuring out who to accept into your program, having a cutoff score is easy, because inevitably so many people apply and the residency application process is not long enough and is too complex for people not to find easy ways to have those cop-out metrics and say, they have a score below this, so we're just not going to look at them because we have too many. So I think something else is going to turn into that, because making that exam a pass-fail doesn't solve the problem of not having enough time to review applications or anything like that. One thing I like about the change is it will encourage students to focus more on their actual academics and developing themselves in other ways. I think I would have done that regardless. Knowing this now does not change anything about the way that I'm approaching medical school. I'm still applying for a dual degree. I'm still gonna try and get leadership. I'm still gonna try and volunteer in a clinic. Those are all things that I wanted to do anyway going into medical school. And so now that the Step 1 is pass-fail, that's not changing for me, but I know that for other students, that's going to change their outlook on how they approach their first and second years of medical school. And from that standpoint, I think it's good, because I think good doctors are those who truly diversify themselves. You can have all of the medical anatomy knowledge in the world, but if you are a cold-hearted person, I think you're gonna be a horrible doctor, because you're not gonna be able to empathize with your patients, no matter what your specialty is. That is one thing that I like, because I just the way that stereotypical medical students are hardwired, I guess. You want to do really, really well on this big exam because everyone talks about how it's such a big thing, and so all the medical students get like freaked out about it. And I think it's a good way to say, yo, stop, take a step back, and do something else with your life. There's been mention of the cost that it takes to prepare. I also think I wasted money preparing for the MCAT because I thought I needed it. You can prepare for any of these exams for free if you have the work ethic to do so, and or you purchase lesser expensive items that, need I remind you, are a drop in the bucket compared to what you're spending in medical school. And it's like part of what you take out is supposed to be put towards like books and study materials and stuff like that. Step 1 is just one piece in the very complicated puzzle that is becoming a doctor. To think that a singular change like this is going to make a big enough impact to make a difference in a positive way, I think is very naive. Now, I feel like I've expressed this, but to be very clear, the reason that I'm against the change is not because I'm worried as a DO. I think that as a DO student, I will still be just as competitive for getting into residencies as any MD, because I think I will make a very good doctor. I'm not worried about mental health, because the fact of the matter is people will stress about whatever they want to stress about. You see similar things with MCAT, you see similar things with passing boards later on. The only reason that this exam is so stressful is because students let it be stressful to them. Look, at the end of the day, changing step 1 to be pass-fail does not really solve any problems. I've seen a lot of great YouTube videos out there now about this and a lot of great articles, so I'll link a few of my favorites below. Definitely go check them out. Hopefully that sheds some light as far as my thoughts on the issue. I'd love to hear your thoughts down below. Please remain positive and civil if you do start commenting. I'd love to encourage some discourse on this. I know it's a controversial topic among medical students right now. I'd love to hear your thoughts, but just do your research first before you form your opinion. Or if you've already formed your opinion but you didn't do enough research, go seek out articles and videos that argue the other side, and do your best to have an open mind and understand where they're coming from so that you can fully take in that opinion and incorporate it into your own. That's it for today. If you liked what you saw today, give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more pre-med related content. Follow me on Instagram if you haven't already. It's @BrennaJFutureDoc. I will see you guys next time. Bye.